All right. Well, welcome to the first video for learning experience number 8, which is called Building a Biblical Framework for a Healthy Local Church. And really, the purpose of these series of videos is just to walk you through the process of this learning experience. Because very often with what we're doing, we don't have a lecture component. So this is more of a sort of quasi lecture, but more of a help to just take you along the process of this learning experience. So I'll begin by sharing my screen, and we can begin to look at how this learning experience is laid out. But I want to give you an introduction. This is one of 3 videos in the introduction. And I want to draw our attention to this is character outcome number 6. And again, we said that the learning experience is called Building a Biblical Framework for a Healthy Local Church. So overview, what you're going to do, you're going to build a biblical framework. You're going to go start with the scriptures. You're going to find everything it says about a church. You're going to put that together. And as you put it together, you're going to be creating a framework. Once you've created that framework, you're going to take that framework and you're going to turn it into an assessment tool. And then once you have the assessment tool, excuse me, what you're going to then do is use that assessment tool to actually go and do an assessment on your church. So by way of introduction, I want to begin with a quote from Henry Ford. And he says this: coming together is a beginning. Keeping together is progress, but working together is success. And so I want to give you a potential strategy as you think about this as an individual, is to work with your cohort to go through this process. And so here's a proposed strategy, and it's got 8 steps. First is you're going to want to divide your work among members, right? And so as you're looking for the word church, there's a whole series of things that we're going to go through. And if you can divide the work up, each of you will still learn the process, but you can benefit from the other's work. So the first thing is to divide the work. Second, make sure you do your part with excellence, because your part is going to be integrated with everybody else's. And if you're all doing excellent work, then you will have a much better product at the end. 3 is you want to share your findings with others. Once you've completed your work and everybody else has, you'll come together and you'll begin to share with each other what you have found. And you as a team can then begin to put that together. And that's what number 4 is that you want to combine your findings into a comprehensive work, which leads us to 5, which is check your theological resources to verify and fill in any gaps. So really between 4 and 5, you're actually going to begin to create your framework. And as you create this framework, you're going to want to check with theological resources to make sure that your framework is complete. If there is something missing that you've noticed, then go ahead and go back and fill that gap in, which then will take you to number 6. Once you've completed your framework, your biblical framework of what a church is, you are then going to want to create an assessment tool. Now, the assessment tool, I'm not going to get into detail here, but we're going to look at later, will allow you then to do the last part of the step, which is then to go into your church and actually do an assessment of the relative health of your church. Now, number 7 is an important step here, and that is share your tool with your church leadership. You don't want to be going in and undermining anything that your church leadership is doing, but you want them to know that you're taking a course, and in this course, you're going to come up with a biblical framework for a church. You're going to use that framework to assess your church, and you want their blessing when you do it. And then finally, step 8 is you want to implement your strategy for greater purity or greater conformity to what health is described as in the scriptures about a local church. And again, make sure you get the consent of your local leadership. I love the acronym on the left. And as you think through those steps, do it together. Everyone has a part. With the parts coming together, you'll achieve even more team. So that's the first part of our introduction. So I would encourage you as you do this, that you do it as a cohort. Thank you.